Cool. Are you ready?
Amazingly ready.
Why are you called Burnt Banksy?
To leave no surprise, I am called Burnt Banksy because I burnt a Banksy.
And why did you do this?
Oh, because it was funny. No, I'm just kidding. We did this because at the time NFTs were nothing and people didn't see the value of NFTs as digital art.
Are you disappointed with the NFT sentiment and marketplaces right now?
I think the sentiment is correct. I think the sentiment should be low.
I'm sure you answered this question. Why is this L1 different?
First of all, I guess on a technical level, there's no wallets, but really it's collaborative. It's an amplified everything.
What initiatives does it need for consumer apps to actually rise in the crypto community?
Every consumer app has failed because you're either a crypto app or you can't exist yet, right? And I think this is what Xion is exactly trying to solve, which is be an app and I think remove the crypto from it.
What were you looking for when you were picking your team?
The team is mostly comprised of people who genuinely love this industry but hate to see where it is right now.
What was the sentiment of VCs for funding a consumer app in 2022?
Closed my first round in 7 minutes.
7? Okay. If you were not in tech, what would you be doing?
I'd be under a bridge somewhere.
Oh, that's so sad.
No, it's not. I love what I do. Couldn't ever imagine myself doing anything else.
If you had the option to have dinner with, let's say, a tech founder, who would it be?
Elizabeth Holmes, actually.
Yeah, that's not a safe answer.
As a matter of fact, I'd love to talk to Sam Bankman-Fried.
In this episode, Burnt Banksy shares the story behind his name and the viral act of burning an artwork to mint an NFT, which helped catalyze the NFT movement. He discusses building Xion, a layer 1 platform focused on simplifying crypto for everyday users. The conversation covers NFT evolution, community building, developer dynamics, rapid fundraising for Xion, and the growing focus on privacy. Your name itself has a story
Yes.
that not a lot of people know. And imagine somebody who's not been into crypto, at that time when this happened. So do the thing.
Do the
Tell me
thing.
the story.
Read the script.
Now, why are you called this? And what is the story behind Burnt Banksy?
Absolutely. So, to leave no surprise, I am called Burnt Banksy because I burnt a Banksy.
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Banksy. No, Banksy.
Bank-
Oh, I'm saying it wrong.
Banksy.
Banksy. Okay.
There it is. We burned it either way. But yeah, so back almost 4 years ago, almost exactly 4 years ago, wow,
Mm-hmm.
we bought a Banksy art piece, an original Banksy art piece, set it on fire, and sold the digital version as an NFT. At the time, we broke the record for the highest NFT sale, and then for all of 2021, we were the highest average price sale on OpenSea.
Mm-hmm. And why did you do this?
Oh, because it was funny. No, I'm just kidding. We did this because at the time NFTs were nothing, and people didn't see the value of NFTs as digital art. And in a probably provocative way, we made that known that the value of an NFT, which we bought the physical for about $100,000, and we lit it on fire, digitalized it, and sold the NFT for $400,000, all in the attempts to say digital art has value. Since then, the NFT market has effectively skyrocketed and become what you've seen today.
What was the sentiment at that time that you got from the crypto community and outside the crypto community? And in retrospect, what do you think about your decision?
In retrospect, it was the best decision.
Yeah.
I think we wouldn't have a lot of what we had today because, we were very fortunate to be covered by, BBC, Forbes, Fortune, really everywhere in the world at the time. And pretty shortly after that came the $69 million Beeple auction and then on the Nyan Cat, right? So everything really started with this because it really acted like a catalyst event, kind of the proverbial spark, if you would. What do I wish I did differently? I don't really know. I think everything went according to kind of plan, much better than expected. And the sentiment at the time was different, right? Because you have to understand that there really wasn't, and there wasn't Bored Apes yet. there wasn't Pudgy Penguins or any of the top 10 aside from maybe CryptoPunks. And at the time, CryptoPunks were not really that expensive.
Mhm.
There was like Crypto Kitties and CryptoPunks, and that was kind of it. But I think you had this vision of what NFTs could become. Um, and I think that we were trying to get that kind of kicked off. I think that it went in a lot of different directions, but I think the word NFT was very confusing, and not very descriptive. And you look at something as like a digital asset, it doesn't matter if it's fungible or not, right? It
Mhm.
just matters that it's a digital asset. So it could be a ticket, it could be digital art, it could be a pass to a community. And I think unfortunately, like the real kind of downfall of that was they all got wrapped into just this overall classification of NFT. Furthermore, it was just really hard to use crypto. It still is.
So this was in 2021, and then you sold it, then you like four times, and today is 2024. What was happening between this time in your life?
Funny enough, the same thing, hilariously. Because once the Burnt Banksy kind of happened, I founded this company called Burnt. Pretty fitting. And a lot of that came out of when I did burn the Banksy. It was absolutely impossible for everyone to use crypto, right? It was OpenSea, and the target audience was very small at the time. It still is very small at the time. You have to, go to Coinbase and onboard and bridge and download a wallet and know what a wallet is and know what an ETH is or whatever it is. And so kind of at that moment, I decided to try to start something and try to make this ecosystem better.
Mhm.
And so we founded Burnt, which is building a product called Xion. And the idea with Xion is to make crypto completely disappear. And a lot of that is so that we can do more stunts like the Burnt Banksy. But we understand that we need everyone to be able to access crypto to be able to continue on with things like that.
So what did Burnt like start with, and when did Xeon come into the picture?
That's a great question, by the way. We originally started on the application layer,
Mhm.
and we actually started building on Solana at first. And we thought that we
Nice.
built the first NFT standard with Metaplex over at Solana, built the first NFT collection standard ourselves over at Solana. And but at 2021, no one had heard of Solana really. This is brand new chain. But we understood that effectively, you know, the problems persisted even on the application layer. And we
Mhm.
understood that we needed to take it deeper and we needed to meet the users where they were instead of being the marketing engine for the wallet solution and for the centralized exchange. We needed to effectively wrap that all into one. And so Zion was effectively born pretty shortly after. And, we had raised $36 million to make crypto disappear.
And what were these specific challenges that sort of you faced, and in the infra side that you felt that it needed a layer one?
Yeah, it's so funny. We did not want to make a layer one. It was just like the most scope creep you could ever possibly imagine. Starting from an application and being like more, 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 and now it's like we can't go any deeper. Now we're at the full infrastructure layer, which is funny and I guess exciting in some ways because we're really trying to make a lot happen and we're able to get a lot more flexibility. I would say that there's a lot of it. I think the main thing, and that we're going to look back in 5 years and say that wallets and the word externally owned accounts is going to be the biggest drawback of this entire industry. We saw adoption rates. I think it was typical crypto has about a 95% fall off rate when it comes to user onboarding. We have a 3% fall off rate. You don't need to bridge anymore. You don't need to download a wallet. You use your email SSO to log in. Pretty much, we take concepts from Web 2, such as session keys, to be able to have a full Web 3 experience, but without the Web 3 friction.
Yeah, that's really interesting, actually, because wallets have just become like the norm, and if
We're so used
people are using, yeah, and if you use emails, like people think, oh, you're not like crypto native enough, like why do you need to use it? Then you're just like, so what do you think of the argument that sort of why be a crypto app if you have to use emails? Or Yeah, no, I'm just saying because I've heard this from like when I go to conferences and it's like it kills like the whole fundamental of building like a Web3 app. But I don't agree with it. Just to be
You can
clear.
totally agree with it. No, you can totally agree with it, right? And I think
Yeah.
it's again one of the reasons why we had to go on the infrastructure layer, because everything is a smart contract account.
Mm.
We're not making wallets easier. We're removing wallets. And effectively what you're able to do is with this, and the way that we've kind of designed this is it is, if you want one email, if you want to use only the email to log in, you can. If you
Mm.
want to use an externally owned account, MetaMask Phantom, you can. Additionally, you can add multiples. You could add one Phantom, one MetaMask, one Rainbow Wallet, one Wallet Connect. Doesn't matter. Alternate the private keys, add a ledger, remove a ledger. Like the advanced options can get as advanced as you want, but the beginner options can be what people are used to. And I think when you get a very, very Web3 native team trying to build for Web2, you kind of get this paranoia, if you would, of security. But I think that's really, really important because it's the industry that we're based off of. And I think, to the arguments of, well, Google can control, Google has access to everything. It's like, yeah, that's what we're fighting against, right? And we encourage people to add more. We encourage people to understand what some of the stuff is as they get to using it more, but we understand that we're not going to onboard users by making them learn everything right at the start.
Got it. Got it. Okay, I'm going to go a little backward because I think I jumped a bit in excitement.
I love jumping, don't worry, I'm the worst at keeping on one track.
Yeah.
This is how we ended up with an L1.
Yeah, exactly. The L1. So I'm sure like you answered this question. Why is this L1 different? Why did we need this L1? Is it still different? Like, so, but I'm going to ask you again, why is this L1 different from whatever is out
What,
there?
the million other L1s out there?
The million other L1s.
I mean, I think we're L1 by semantics. We are, and everything that we try to do is collaborative. So the only thing that I care about is allowing products to succeed. And we've already done work with Solana, Injective, BNB, AVAX, pretty much every L1, because all of us here understand that there's a million L1s out there. And so being able to, and this kind of goes into our architecture and the way that we built a lot of the things, but we did not want to be this like siloed L1 that just won't win. We understand that there's going to be more, in 5 years, there's probably going to be an exponentially larger number of L1s. And so being positioned to be completely collaborative, whether that be you want to go from base to Xion to Solana, doesn't matter to us. And we have a few examples of this already kind of live and ready, because we believe that a lot of L1s are going to actually start to focus on a niche. Because I believe that the winner takes all method is never going to work. And to that point, there's hundreds of L1s out there. And I think that there is ample opportunity for all of them to win so long as you kind of find this niche. And so to kind of wrap up and answer your question, how are we different? First of all, I mean, I guess on a technical level, there's no wallets, but really it's collaborative. And it doesn't need to be an either or, it's an amplified everything.
Also, maybe something on your focus on the consumer apps.
Yeah.
Do you think
Yeah. I
has that
mean,
is a differentiator as well, right?
yeah. I mean, I think that's like, there's short and long term strategies here. I think long term, our vision is to allow products to succeed, but I think short term, we understand that there are no products in this industry, right? There's dexes and swaps and AMMs and lending borrowing platforms, and then those who all copy and paste it onto these other L1s.
Saw it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
DeFi. And I think that's okay to a certain extent, but I believe that we've built amazing user onboarding tools. DeFi is very, very saturated. We want to focus on consumer because our goal is to cross the chasm into consumer, right? Into this kind of new audience that prefers a whole product. And we can't do that by focusing on everything. We're not going to be the gaming, DeFi, NFT, blah, 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 everything chain, right? Like our focus is on consumer because we believe our tools are best used for consumer. And I don't think that consumer has seen the light of day like it should yet, because everything has been very DeFi and financially focused. And I think that that's additionally, since you've been able to since you've capped at the amount of users that you can kind of have, look at like Friend Tech, look at BitClout, you saw massive spikes in users, but effectively they're capped because now, your customer acquisition cost and your user friction is now higher than the value. And social networks and network effects need to exist and grow really fast. And you cannot do that with high user friction. And this is why every consumer application in this industry has failed, is because there's no, you either pander to the users that exist, which is like not a lot, or you fail. And you kind of have to go that way. But I think that consumer hasn't seen the light of day yet. I think it's found product market fit in the capacity that it's seen,
It has found product market fit in the capacity that it has
that it's
seen.
able to, right?
That
You,
it's
you see huge growth spikes, but it's capped.
Mhm.
And it's to no
Okay.
fault of the company itself.
So, which are the consumer apps, or what are the consumer apps that you would like to see in the crypto space today?
I mean, we're seeing a lot. I think that you look at most of these are imagination, right? Like it's trying to describe Facebook in 1992. It's trying to describe Uber in 1992. These are the things that I think that we're going to see. I think that like there's easy answers to this, which is let's take on Spotify and get artists the proper kind of streaming rights that they deserve. Let's take on Uber, take on these centralized institutions. But I do think that there's going to be other applications of this because there's now a global world that we're able to tap into. There's going to be people who try to take, let's say, like there's a project called EarnOS on our platform who's trying to be this kind of Web3 Google AdSense, which I think is very cool and a very cool take on things, because now you can also target people who don't have an American bank account.
Can you also mention that why is the reason that only DeFi, and even now, like you see all over X, right, Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
everybody still goes to the narrative like without DeFi, like crypto is nothing. Like it's driving everything and it will drive everything. And um like why do you think it's of course the reasons are greed and all those things, like why DeFi sort of like dominates it? And so my question is like, why has DeFi continued to dominate it for like so long, like since probably crypto came into the scene? And when do you actually feel that, what initiatives does it need for consumer apps to actually rise in the crypto community?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question. A lot of it is just first mover, right? First mover. I mean, crypto in its current definition started with Bitcoin, which was decentralized money, right? So a lot of things started from that. And I think, you really didn't see digital art until 3 years ago, and Bitcoin came out 15 years ago. And so I think you're starting to see consumer applications more. But the reason DeFi is prominent is because that was the impetus of crypto, right? It was Bitcoin was created effectively to destroy the banks. And I think as people saw alternative uses of crypto being, dismantling middlemen and clearinghouses and centralized parties, you then understood that, this then unlock moment happened where it's larger than the banks, it's any centralized institution. And I think you're seeing that play out in real time as it like comes to the different experiments such as, meme coins or NFTs or kind of digital passes. And I think when you have this concept of ownership, you're going to have this financialization of it. It's just unfortunately human nature. And I think that you have this other aspect where most of the industry ends up being a casino, which is really difficult to kind of get away from because there are a lot of people who want to play in a casino.
Yeah.
But I think Nassim Taleb said it best, which is like there's always going to be that short-term volatility for long-term growth.
And the second part of the question was like, what initiatives will it actually take for consumer apps to more consumer apps in the industry to come? Like,
I mean, I think they need to show that they work. Every consumer app has failed because you're either a crypto app right? And you have to pander to the crypto people, or you're, or it's like, or you can't exist yet, right? And I think this is what Xion is exactly trying to solve, which is be an app, be an app, and I think remove the crypto from it and just say, hey, we're trying to take on Spotify. You log in with an email, you log in with your Spotify, you can log in with your Facebook, whatever it is, and every artist gets paid in dollars, and you can bring it out to your bank account, and it doesn't need to be this like, oh, you get paid out in Sol or download this wallet, and I think in the ways that we need to show that an application can exist without the mention of crypto in order for other applications to kind of follow suit and then just become applications.
Oh my God, love that. Love that. Um, okay, so now a bit about the apps that we have on Xeon. Okay, like what do the numbers look like? I'm gonna add a question on top, and if you forget answering, I'll ask
I
it
probably will.
again. Okay. So, developers, because you need developers to build these apps.
Mhm.
And we know, because I know this because I organize like hackathons every like month, and I know like it's the pool is so small, and we are always looking for blockchain developers. Um,
It's actually decreasing.
yeah, it's decreasing.
Mhm.
Okay, what's the number? I don't know it.
I thought it was like 7,000.
Oh my God, that's nothing.
No, I know that. No, I know that.
Yeah. And then, most of them are just interested in like a bounty, and then they go to another project. And, I've been designing programs, how to get devs interested in really building for the long term. Uh, so when it comes to dev focus for Xeon, do you really need that pool of 7,000
Oh,
blockchain devs? Okay, so that already increases like your
yeah. That's our
user
goal,
base.
right? Like, most of the companies that build on us come from Web 2. And we're not, again, I think there's going to be this common theme of us, which is we don't want to compete in the very small pool that already
Hmm.
exists. The goal for us is to try to make it as simple as possible with the tools as possible that Web 2 people are familiar with. And it's funny because it's actually a very large bickering within the company of, do we build for Web 2 people or do we build what Web 3 people are asking for? Because they are very different things. And if you look at the way that architecture is designed, it mimics Web 2. It mimics what people are used to in Web 2. But people in Web 3 are used to wallets and they're used to things like this. And so that, like, who do we build for will always stray towards Web 2, because we're not trying to fight for this decreasing 7,000 developers that are kind of, as you said, going back and forth between bounties and things like that. The way and the kind of the strategy that we employ, and we should probably chat after this actually, is we're forming Xion houses everywhere. We're taking kind of this Uber approach, really, which is this really, really hyper localized growth where we're just getting into local communities, and we're starting with Argentina, Nigeria, and Lisbon, and forming kind of communities, being able to get gatherings together, and then very, very, hopefully quickly, but slowly but surely, being able to like bring people to become developers rather than finding developers.
And how do you do that? Because that's a long cycle.
It is a long cycle, but I think these are companies, right? Like, if we
Mhm.
wanted some quick copy and paste, then we would look for quick fixes. We're
Yeah.
very fortunate to have a very good runway. We're very fortunate to have a very long-term mindset, and we understand that it's going to be slow. Like, very fortunately, we started this process a very long time ago, so we already have companies and people building on us now, and then just turning that flywheel, and then making the developer experience better, and then making the user experience better, and being able to kind of make for this abstracted, effectively experience, only kind of creates this flywheel that is extremely amazing.
Okay, so let's take a example. So I'm in Lisbon. I have a small startup. I'm building an app. I get reached out by Xeon. Hey guys, why don't you think of like integrating blockchain? What next
I
happens?
actually think it's before that. I actually think, I mean, I think that the difficulty in where we are, it's not like a Stripe or anything or
Mhm.
Kubernetes, right? It's we actually need to reach people before they even want to build a company. Um, and I think that because I think Zion, like what you do needs to be needs to be effectively decided before you decide where to do it, right? And if you want to focus on like a DeFi chain, you're probably going to do DeFi, and that's a different
Mhm.
route. Um,
Mhm.
and I think that unfortunately, a lot of Web3 developers are like what we internally call like kind of brainwashed, right? Which is, but this is the way to do it, and it's like, no, that's not efficient. Like, no one cares if you say connect wallet. Why would you say that? And there's small things, right? Like log in, things like that. Why does this redirect me? I go click any website, click login with Google, and you're going to see the exact same thing. Go to
Mhm.
Discord, you're going to see the exact same thing because that's what we mimic, and we need to meet the users where they are. And so a lot of that is let's talk about the people who on the side maybe want to start a project and they're interested in learning about crypto. Then they would be coming to, let's say, a Thursday Xion meetup just for a beer or something like
Mhm.
that. And then over time, like slowly with the help and of the foundation and developers and the community, they decide, great, I want to then build this, and they have the full support and the funding and everything. And there's been success projects like EarnOS is probably one of the other ones where they come from Uber. They just announced a $5 million fundraise about 2 weeks ago.
Awesome.
Yeah, really, really exciting.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of projects like that where
Mhm.
from ideation to kind of all the way through launch. I mean, these guys are absolutely crushing, and there's so many more in the pipeline that we're really excited to show for. In addition to a couple incubators and accelerators that we've gotten kicked off, but we TGE'd back in December, and everything has just been. I mean, I think the user numbers are 100,000 ish daily active users, which is extremely exciting throughout the entire chain, and
It's
we're
good.
very,
It's
very excited.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I understand it is that it's almost like a incubator accelerator kind of thing. Like
Mhm.
you come with an idea, an intent, and a founder mindset, and then you get the help like along the way, and then you're able to. Okay. So how many projects have you sort of helped till now in this particular way?
I mean, I think across the board from, and these are in different stages, right? Some of them
Mhm.
have launched, some of them are launching, some of them
Mhm.
are still. But I think I believe it's the number is about 200, and that's rapidly growing as we start to expand our presence.
Yeah, that's a good number as well. Why did you choose, you said Lisbon,
Hmm.
Argentina, and Nigeria? I don't know. Yeah. Why these specific clusters?
I think first of all, the hyper localized approach is very interesting because the solutions you get and the user needs are vastly different wherever you go. And we saw this because the CTO is out in San Francisco, and we were thinking about having it in San Francisco. But the difference between Argentina and San Francisco is that a lot of people in Argentina don't have access to an American bank account, which is a very, very large use case and something that people in San Francisco don't really understand the capacity of, right? Like
Mm.
it's not really a forethought of, well, what if I can't receive money? That's not being thought about. And so things like Argentina was we have someone down in Argentina already, very similarly with Lisbon. But Argentina was one of these places where we have Valor, which is one of our largest investors, who is very LATAM focused. We understand the power of crypto in LATAM, and Argentina was a technical hotspot for that. And so Argentina was one of those places. Lisbon as well. I mean, Lisbon is our kind of first step into Europe. Very big crypto hotspot there. Our head of ecosystem is also out in Lisbon. Um, and then Nigeria actually is really, really massive. One of our first engineers is from it lives in Nigeria, and then a lot of our community is in Nigeria. And so by will, I think we've just had a very large presence in Nigeria, very similar to the concepts of payments and cross border aspects and a global economy being very true to fruition. In addition to already having a very, very strong foothold in the region. We just found these places as you kind of had this local presence already, and so we could I don't want to say make mistakes, but like ideally our goal is to make a lot of mistakes in places where we're already established so that we can expand into other places and hopefully not make these same mistakes.
Yeah, I think like Lisbon is an interesting choice. And also like you have Europe in your roadmap is something I find interesting. Because personally, I like, of course, I've been living here for 7 years, and I think like Europe is almost like sometimes really ignored with dev talent, but you have like so many serious devs in even in Germany, like for that matter. So great to know, like, and
We were
plus,
looking at Frankfurt, by the way.
yeah, yeah. Also like Berlin, I think is not bad, but yeah, Frankfurt. So totally, like kudos on that because usually either our people are just focusing on the US or it's Asia or now like of course Africa you see a lot of projects
Of
like
course.
focusing. So that's sort of cool. My question is like your audience is Web 2. You're inspired a lot also by how Web 2 is doing things and by the user experience. And about your team, what were you looking for when you were picking your team? Are most of them like crypto native people, or did you also hire people like specifically with Web2 UX experience to get like that kind of talent? So just want to understand like your team dynamics and what were the things you were looking for while forming this team.
I think that the team is mostly comprised of people who have been in the industry for a while, but
Mhm.
worked outside of the industry before that. People who genuinely love this industry, but hate to see where it is right now. And I think you get this, like, I call it like jaded but optimistic mindset where we're pretty sick of the industry in the capacity that it is, but we're optimistic that we can change it. And so, like, our CTO built the very first bridge from Ethereum to Cosmos. Most of the team is absolutely stacked, kind of very obviously engineering heavy, but I think that people who have this dual experience is very important. And then like I don't think, there's this like funny aspect where I don't think that we quote unquote like trust these like the super optimistic. We won't. Because we like people who have seen how bad this industry is and are sick of it and want to make that change because we believe in this industry for the long run and not like a meme coin cycle.
Yeah, meme coins, yeah. Do you are so how are they distributed? Do you also have people in Lisbon and Nigeria, Argentina, these places, or is it run by
Totally
community?
scattered.
Okay, scattered.
Totally scattered. I think as we expand, it's a good question on like the Lisbon stuff, but as we expand, a lot of that will be led by the community.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's pretty much like the model for most projects. Raising 36 million.
Yes.
How was that story for you to raise capital? Like you had an idea, you went with the idea of Burnt, which we can say was a consumer app.
Yep. It was an attempt at a consumer app.
In 2022,
2021,
2021.
March of 2021.
Yeah. So what was the sentiment of VCs for funding a consumer app in 2022?
I closed my first round in 7 minutes.
7. Okay.
In 2021, my first round, I closed it in 7 minutes. Yes.
But what do you think clicked like it's needed?
Wait, what happened?
What do you think clicked? Like what? How?
I think
Why?
it was the Burnt Banksy. I think coming off of the Burnt Banksy, like it made a lot of sense. And then also Solana was a new chain, right? Like time was very different. The time was really, really different. No one was really building applications. No one was raising for applications. We're the first NFT marketplace that raised on Solana, and that's what we kind of started as. And it was the times were different.
If do you think if you did it now on Solana, it would have been different? I mean, the tech would be still the same, right? You would
It, would,
still
it
have
wouldn't be
this.
different. It wouldn't be different.
Yeah, it wouldn't be different, and you would have like the same challenges. What is your roadmap looking like at this point for Xion? Like in terms of your GDM, in terms of users, do you have like internal targets? We haven't spoken about like the tech, but if you had to explain it like in like simple terms, where is your tech right now? Where do you want to see it? Tell us about the future.
Yeah, and I'll definitely need to post this because I've written it down internally. But I think that we want by the end of this year, I want five. Like we have about 100,000 daily active users now throughout the entire chain, right? I want I want 5 consumer applications with 100,000 daily active users at least. Um, that is where we kind of stand there. We can say like 1,000 deployments, right? 1,000 products deployed. We want to be in, I believe the number is 25 different, whether it be countries or cities, depending on kind of where we decide there. But our entire focus is on growing out that ecosystem. And the thing that we can provide is users because there's no friction. And it's really, really freaking easy to use. Um, and so the only way that that continues is by having more of an ecosystem and allowing the interconnectivity to kind of skyrocket and eventually hitting these kind of network effects that you're going to be able to see. It's very exciting.
Cool.
On the technical side, I will say that we're very privacy focused. I think that like when we talk about ZK, there's like this good and bad in my mind, where there's this so much buzzword as it relates to ZK, PTSD. But when we look at it, right, like I think that that's going to be the future of crypto because you have all the privacy preserving properties in addition to being able to tap into kind of the benefits of crypto without kind of the negatives there. And so most of our roadmap is very ZK focused. Right now it's ZK TLS and ZK email. Eventually looking into the VM layer on that. But we really, really are excited about where zero knowledge research is going. And I think we're placing a lot of bets on that being a big part of crypto's future.
ZK.
CK.
Yeah. I know, just like people stop talking about this stuff. It's all about like AI agents and meme
I know
coins.
meme coins and no one cares. It was funny. I think I tweeted today. I was like, rule number 1, never ask a crypto company what they do. And it's just like,
Yeah.
it's just no one, and right now, no one really cares. But it's okay. It happens. It'll come back around and
Yeah.
yeah.
I think now this project had a good mainnet, no, testnet launch, like Umar Roy's project. Like, what is it? Succinct?
Succinct.
Yeah, so succinct. Oh, to be, I'm bad with
No
pronunciations.
worries, no worries.
Okay, you also tweeted that what you're, okay, this was February 10th. You said that what you're about to see over the next few weeks is an experiment in attention and information dissemination. We either get drowned out or completely change Xion forever. If it doesn't work, that's okay. We tried something new, but it will. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
That's a hell yeah. Well, we've been working with kind of NOS, and it's very funny. We have we're working with a lot of brands through that. And so I believe on that day we announced Uber, and then we announced we're working with Amazon Prime Video, and then Temu, BMW, um, Marvel Rivals, Minecraft, and pretty much we've been doing 1 to 2 every day. And it's effectively like what you shouldn't do when it comes to giving people information because some of them get drowned out, some of them people don't see, but we have
Mhm.
about 150 brands that we're working with. And the idea being, listen, we're either going to get drowned out and no one's going to see any of these, or it's just going to be this information overload where people are going to look back and be like, oh my God, they actually are working with all of these brands. And I think that the way that we're kind of looking at things is this we don't really like we not to say we don't really care, but we don't really care if they are blown up to the largest degree. Like I don't really want to be saving these and try to do like one mega announcement every 2 months. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep producing content. I'm going to keep shipping, and the whole team is. And so like I said, like we're either going to get drowned out or we're going to look back and there's going to be 150 brands and people are going to be like, wow, we just missed that.
Yeah. No, it was an intriguing, like,
We're still going through it. I mean, it
yeah.
started off very slow, I will say. And I remember like some of the team was like, maybe we should do every 2 days. And I'm like, absolutely not. I go, every day we need to do at least one, whether it be the brands, whether it be something like, I know we have 150 of these. Next 3 months, I want to inundate people, and I want like everything needs to be coming out, and we need to be consistently pumping out news. And yeah,
Yeah, that's good. I
yeah,
like it. Um, I have to ask you this.
yeah,
You might not like it, but are you disappointed with where the NFT
yes.
sentiment and marketplace is right now? And
I think the sentiment is correct. I think the
okay.
sentiment should be low. I think that the NFT market got caught up in the casino that exists. I think that like, you look at a real pivot point, which was Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? Which I think that this is a really good question actually, because I think that Bored Ape Yacht Club did something really really cool on such an awesome scale where they connected everyone globally, and it was genuinely a global community with some random person could be connected to Snoop Dogg and Eminem and
Mhm.
like their favorite rappers. And it genuinely was like this identity factor and a proof point in my mind where, hey, you know, although you may not have people in your living room showing you this piece of art, more people are seeing your Twitter profile picture, and who you are in your online life is your Twitter profile. And Bored Ape Yacht Club was the first and the largest to really do this. And I think they reinvented the game. Yes, it was digital art, but really it was more of a community than anything. And I really, really like what they did. I did not like the 90 million iterations of Bored Ape Yacht Club that attempted to come afterwards, where you then got whitelists, and then it was, how much is this going to go for? And, the issue with that then became, the prices went up and it became a casino, and it was no longer about the community. It was about selling and making as much money. And then when the market tanked, there was no exit liquidity anymore. And so then you got the NFT market reverting to the mean effectively, which was DeFi at the time, right? Reverting to the people who are already in. Then you got this like hyper financialization with the blurs of the world and the points metas. And then you got NFT marketplaces popping up just because of the airdrops. And I think all of that energy and that momentum, it wasn't lost, it just transferred itself into what you see now as meme coins. And I believe the sentiment of meme coins should also be pretty low, because I think that you had Doge, you had some pretty cool communities, right? And that's what these are. These are proof points of communities. But when you then enter that community into a casino, you remove that kind of community aspect and you replace it with speculation, you're then going to get a low sentiment, which I believe should exist.
Yeah, actually, that was going to be my next question. Like some people say, like, I don't know. I think it was even Raul Pal said in some podcast, like, oh, meme coins like are a culture. They are like, it's
Yeah.
it's important. You should have it. Like, and then there is this another sentiment of like, kill meme coins. Like, we don't need them anymore, and they should not be running chains. And that's where all the freaking liquidity is coming from. Where is your perspective in the middle of like these two extreme views?
I mean, I would say that I am anti meme coins, but anti meme coins in the sense of how many there are, right? Like I'm very pro a lot of them. I think it's really cool. Like there's some ones that did a really good job in community building, and I think it's fun. Like at the end of the day, if you want to pay for entertainment, you can pay for entertainment that way. Like that
Mhm.
is a viable use case. But I think that fortunately or unfortunately, it became too easy to do. And then I mean, there was like this whole scary live stream meta, if you remember that. But, the idea that it's now speculative, then it can go to zero. Like you bring speculation to that, it can go to zero.
Mhm.
Because that's it. And it's okay. I'm not saying go to zero in a bad way, but in the same way that we can speculate it can go up, it should theoretically have to go down. Um, I hope it doesn't. I hope people don't lose money. That would not be what I want to see.
Inevitable.
But it's yeah. I mean, if it's no longer about the
Mhm.
community and it's just about trying to sell before the guy after you, then
Yeah.
then there's going to be a guy before you.
Hmm. No, that's kind of true. It's crazy like how meme coins are running also a lot of projects. It's easier to raise money for like meme coins, I feel, than anything else at this point.
Yeah.
So we have a rapid fire, which I haven't prepared for today, but I will just ask because
So it's rapid fire for you too. Let's go.
I've done it so many times. So I just know what are the questions. Cool. Are you ready?
Amazingly ready.
Okay. The most difficult hire for Xion and why?
Previously or like right now?
Decide.
Marketing. I think marketing. Marketing is a difficult hire because it's so vague and there's no right way to do it. And anyone from Web2 experience does, like, they need to get crypto. So you need to find this nice balance of too much crypto is bad, too much Web2 is bad, but like this middle ground is good, very hard to come by, very, very difficult. That is the most difficult hire.
Okay. Good to know. I'm in marketing, so good to know it's difficult to hire good people. Okay. Second, define your leadership style in one word.
Uh, uh, hands off. I know it's kind of two words.
Hands on, hands off.
Hands
Okay.
off. Yeah, you want to hire great people. You want to give them room. And I think that align under a vision, align under a goal, and be able to kind of maintain that. But I think you need to hire people smarter than you, and you need to trust them to do what they want to do and give them that room.
Cool. If Xion had a mascot, do you?
It's a flame.
Okay, you do. Okay, question cancelled.
It's Blaze. His name is Blaze.
Blaze?
Blaze? Blaze?
Wow, that's bad research on my part.
No, you're good. It's very community focused.
Yeah. Okay, if you had to, your biggest FOMO moment in crypto? FOMO.
Every meme coin that I miss out on.
Oh, actually, that was the next question. Like, which was the last meme coin you bought?
Last one that I bought, I have no idea. I have not traded meme coins in a very long time. Probably some friends one. Oh, actually, FPX 6900.
Ah, okay, SPX 6900. If you had more time, if you had 2 more hours in your day, apart from working on Xion, what would you do?
Sleep.
Okay, pick a hobby.
Play guitar.
Play guitar. Okay. If you were not in tech, what would you be doing?
I'd be under a bridge somewhere.
Oh, that's so sad. You'd be
No, it's not. I love what I do. Couldn't ever imagine myself doing anything else.
anything else? Like no alternate universe.
No, there's no alternate. I can't do anything outside of crypto. That's the issue. We have zero transferable skills. This has to work.
Yeah. Okay. And see, I'm falling short of questions. What is that one book or podcast or line that anybody told you that really like sort of stayed with you?
I know it's really cheesy. but it's gonna be WAGMI. Like, it was just, it really was. Like, I mean, I have so many great books, I have so many great lines, but like the thing that's always kept me going for the last 6 to 8 years has just been this communal WAGMI. Like, anything bad happens, it's like WAGMI. Like,
WAGMI.
we're gonna make it. We're all gonna make it.
Cool. If you had the option to have dinner with one celebrity it's not a celebrity. I can't really call it a celebrity. Okay, let's say like a tech founder. Who would it be, and what would you ask them?
Oh God. One tech founder that I'd have to get dinner with. I mean, I guess I gotta go Ben Horowitz. That's just like the easy answer, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Safe answer. And what
It's
would
a
you?
safe answer. Yeah. Elizabeth Holmes, actually. Just kidding.
Okay. Yeah, that's not a safe answer.
As a matter of fact, I'd love to talk to Sam Bankman-Fried.
Okay. All of them, like on one table.
One dinner, yeah, round table. Just bring them all in.
Yeah, I think it would be cool. Like, why? Like, what was going on in your mind? And
Yeah.
it's okay. And this is very strange, and I always get very strange answers. Like, if you could ask one question to the universe, what would it be to get an answer like the answers you really look for? And it's funny, like founders give very interesting answers to this.
What is the one question I could ask the universe that I could get the answer for?
Yeah.
I mean, what happens after you die is a boring answer.
But
I don't think, you know what I'm gonna go for? I'm gonna go for what should I eat for dinner tonight?
with Elizabeth Holmes.
With Elizabeth, yeah. What should I want to say, what should I get for dinner? Because I don't think that there's a question either that I would be satisfied with an answer for or I would really want an answer for. And I think that
Yeah.
like living is the experience. And you just gotta live. And so I would want to know what to eat for dinner tonight.
Okay, now you're going to give me like a similar answer for the last question as well. What is the biggest challenge of humanity right now?
With the big shout.
This group
God.
shit.
No, it's like, I mean, the issue is that like I feel so lame saying like economic equality, because I think that's like obviously we're solving for that and like it's biased and there's so many issues facing humanity right now. But I think it's like really difficult to see that, you know, as we kind of said, like with the San Francisco to Argentina, sorry, answer, like there
Mhm.
is there is a problem when the global stage isn't set and it's very, very heavily focused on a few places. You know, and I think that opportunities and not even opportunities, but just like rights and levels are just not at the same level. And they're not even close to being at the same level. And problems aren't even close to being at the same scale. Where I think that if we can lift, I'm not saying bring people down, but I think if we can lift everyone up on a global stage, I think that's A, what we're solving for with crypto. And then I think B, hopefully a big solution for the world.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good answer. And why I ask this is because we are in this space, right? Which the value system started with something, and now we do something that is like driven by completely. And of course, all of us want to make money, like including me. And
Mhm.
we are also driven by money to be in this industry. But like, it's always good to remind, like at the end of this podcast, like how our like other vision and this industry sort of like correlate. And it's like a good way to end the podcast. So I always ask that.
No, I like it. It's a good one.
Yeah. So thank you. It was really fun talking to you. I didn't even feel this was a podcast because I
This was
was
a lot of fun.
just yeah, it was just like a chat and I was just asking like everything that came to my mind, and you were super fun and you're humorous, and I hope you decide soon what are you having for dinner.
I mean, we'll see what the universe tells me.
What the universe
What
tells
the
you.
universe
Yes.
tells me. It's gonna tell me Chipotle for the 99th in a row.
Okay, amazing. And if you are looking at Europe, just have a chat with me. I'll be
Definitely.
more than happy to like give you some insights, connect you to people, and have a wonderful day ahead.
You as well. Thank you again.
Thank you. Bye bye.